welcome to TeleSUR. I'm Jose Daniel Lopez in Quito, Ecuador, and this is from the south. The president of Ecuador's National Electoral Council has confirmed the results of February 7 presidential vote. Left-wing economist Andrés Arauz, who did not acquire enough ballots for a first-round victory, will face right-wing ex-banker Guillermo Lasso in the second round of April 11th.
The final results of the vote for the dignity of President and Vice President of the Republic are proclaimed. The General Secretariat provides for the elaboration of the respective resolution of proclamation of the final results, which must be notified to political organizations so that they can present administrative or jurisdictional appeals, of which they are created to assist.
Brazil has become the third country in the world to cross 10 million coronavirus cases. The South American country is battling a COVID-19 resurgence worsened by year-end gatherings and a new strain found in the northern city of Manaus. For most of this year, Brazil has reported over 50,000 new infections a day, about a double the rate for October and November, while deaths have passed 1,000 daily. Thus far, 3% of the population of 212 million people have been vaccinated. Meanwhile, many cities have introduced curfews to slow the spread of the virus.
The vaccine shortage is worrisome because the vaccine is our hope to get out of this difficult situation. As it becomes scarce and more difficult to vaccinate larger number of people, we continue to hold out our people to the vaccine.
I support the curfew. I support it because it is good. It is necessary for everyone. If everybody respected the curfew, we wouldn't be in such a pandemic.
We stay in Brazil, where far-right President Jair Bolsonaro has appointed an Army Reserve officers to lead the state-owned company Petrobras after criticizing several successive increases in the price of fuel. Silva Luna, the former defense minister under President Michel Temer, had been serving as general director of the Itaipu Binacional Dam. Bolsonaro's announcement was followed by a sharp drop in the oil company's share prices. They reduced by 7.92% Friday, with preferred shares down 6.63%. Petrobras has increased fuel prices 4 times so far in 2021, a cumulative raise of nearly 35%. Argentina's Health Minister Ginés González Garcia has resigned over a vaccination scandal. President Alberto Fernández removed González Garcia on Friday after media reports that people have been able to use connections to get access to COVID-19 vaccines. The scandal emerged after a veteran journalist said that he had received a jab after speaking directly with the minister. Since December, Argentina has received about 1.5 million doses of mostly Sputnik 5, but also AstraZeneca, to inoculate frontline health workers. Carla Bisotti, the Secretary of Health Access and Vice Minister of Health, will take over as minister.
The attitude taken by the government to remove Ginés from his position is very good, because what he did is wrong and should not happen. I believe that there are many other sectors that are waiting for the vaccination. Unvaccinated teachers that have already started to work.
They should have given priority to the healthcare, to the people first, to the teachers, to the elderly, to the retirees, and then to them, because it seems to me that they took advantage of the power they have.
Mexican Deputy Health Minister Hugo López-Gatell has COVID-19. In an announcement, the minister said his symptoms started on Friday, but they were mild. Paul López-Gatell added that an antigen test found him to be positive, though he is still awaiting results for a PCR test. Mexico has so far reported over 2 million cases of COVID-19 and nearly 179,000 deaths. Cuban authorities have agreed to approve a law on animal welfare before the end of this month after meeting with animal rights activists. Animal abuse will be punished with fines or even potential jail time. However, cockfighting and animal sacrifices will be exempt from the law due to their cultural and religious significance.
We have listened to the petition of animal rights activists who arrived today at the headquarters of the Ministry of Agriculture.
The law will pass. For me, this is already a lot. It has always been difficult for us to get a law passed. We have to work hard on achieving consensus between them and us.
More stories coming up. Don't go away. Welcome back. Nigerians have voted in a presidential runoff set to mark the first ever democratic transition of power. Presidential candidate Mohamed Bazoum, who received 39.3% of the first round vote in December, is facing former President Mahamadou Ousmane, who got 16.9% of the vote. Ousmane was president from 1993 till 1996, when he was stopping a coup. About 7.5 million citizens are eligible to vote out of a population of 22 million people. The years preceding the poll, however, have been marked by growing insecurity along Niger's borders, major corruption scandals, and repressive measures against civil society members.
I cannot say who I voted for, but still, it is a Nigerian who will be elected, and he is there for the cause Nigerians. So I would like to wish that there will be peace in Niger after this vote. We don't want any post-election crisis, so whoever gets chosen will be elected for Niger.
2 people have died during demonstrations in Gabon's 2 major cities as anger over COVID-19 restrictions turned into street protests. On Thursday night, security forces fired tear gas and stun grenades in some neighborhoods in the capital Libreville and Port-Gentil to disperse demonstrators who banged pots and set up barricades, burning tires and debris. Gabon restricted travel in and out of the capital city and expanded curfew hours to slow the spread of coronavirus infections last week. The Tigray People's Liberation Front has laid out 8 conditions for beginning peace talks with the government. Spokeswoman Liya Casa outlined the group's preconditions for joining talks to end the 4 months of fighting on the Facebook page of Dimsi Weyane TV, a station owned by the former ruling party. The conditions included the appointment of an international mediator and allowing aid workers into the region. On November 4, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed ordered airstrikes and a ground offensive against the group after its forces attacked federal army bases in the region. Ahmed declared victory less than a month later after the TPLF withdrew from the regional capital Mekelle and major towns, but low-level fighting continues. Africa's third largest airline, Kenya Airways, say it is ready to help governments on the continent to distribute COVID-19 vaccines. The airline's commercial managers say it has sufficient capacity and experience in handling fragile cargo that needs to be transported at cold storage conditions. Jobs in market for Africa risk spoilage if not transported with precise temperature ranges, from ground handling to shipment and delivery. Kenya Airlines serves the major air hubs in Africa, has long established routes to Europe, and on Friday introduced a flight to Delhi with an eye on business to ship Covishield, the Indian-made Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine.
KQ is 100% ready to offer the Kenyan government and many other African governments very robust solutions in the movement of the COVID-19 vaccines. The facility has a capacity to handle about 300 tons of pharma at a go. We actually, as I mentioned earlier, we intend to have a transit window of 6 hours maximum. So that means helps our churn of the product. And 300 tons is equivalent to 3 Boeing 747 freighters.
The South African city of Cape Town is ready to host the One International Film Festival. Organizers say everything is ready and submissions are pouring in with about 2 months to go.
The city of Cape Town, a picture-perfect setting for the first One People International Film Festival. The city is one of the world's premier film and tourism destinations. and these industries have greatly suffered as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdown. This film festival will bring a much-needed kickstart to the industry. The festival will be held from the 26th of April to the 2nd of May and will include important historic days such as South Africa's Freedom Day on the 27th of April and May Day on the 1st of May, with an emphasis on showcasing films that celebrate diversity and inclusion. The organizers say the festival's exquisite array of narrative, documentary, and animated films will contribute in uniting communities from across the globe. The City of Cape Town Mayor Alderman Dan Plato says they welcome the idea of such a festival.
A festival of an international kind of a standard. You call it already, it will be one of the biggest in Africa. Any municipality would love to be part and parcel of something like that and to support it because it always attracts investors, it attracts film tourists to your country. It means it is feet in your country or in your city, and it means it is money that's being spent. Looking at COVID, how COVID hit our economy. Every envoy after COVID is over, the envoys, people that want to get out of their countries and visit South Africa and Cape Town, we will not say no to that.
The film industry contributes around 3.5 billion rand a year to the local economy, and the city hopes that it will continue to grow during and post the COVID-19 pandemic. The festival aims to create an intimate and collaborative space for filmmakers, holding a range of events from masterclasses to red carpet premieres and plenty of co-production networking opportunities. For teleSUR News in Cape Town, I'm Stephen Taylor.
At least 7 people have died after Iraqi security forces clashed with the Islamic State group north of Baghdad. 5 Jihadis and 2 security personnel were killed when army troops and state-sponsored tribal fighters raided a hideout in Tarmiyah. This comes nearly 1 month after suicide bombers murdered more than 30 people in the same town. A few days later, Iraqi security forces killed an Islamic State leader believed to have been the mastermind behind those 2 attacks. Residents in the Pakistani city of Skardu have held a candlelight vigil for the 3 missing climbers on K2, the world's 2nd highest peak. Officials say local Mohamed Ala Satpara, along with Juan Pablo Mor of Chile and John Snorri of Iceland, are believed to have died as it's been more than a week since they've gone missing. The 3 climbers lost contact with a base camp on February 5th while they were trying to summit K2, sparking a massive rescue effort that included military helicopters and planes. Officials say their search for the climbers' bodies will continue. A report by United Nations investigators has revealed that Eric Prince, a private security contractor and ally to former U.S. President Donald Trump, has violated an arms embargo on Libya. The confidential report to the Security Council obtained by the New York Times and the Washington Post say that Prince deployed a force of foreign mercenaries and weapons to strongman Khalifa Haftar, who has been fighting to overthrow the UN-recognized government since 2019. According to the report, the $80 million operation included plans to form a hit squad to track and kill military commanders opposed to Haftar. Thousands of protesters have mobilized in Armenia's capital to demand the resignation of Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan. The demonstrators gathered on Freedom Square in the center of Yerevan despite a heavy police presence. They accused Pashinyan of mishandling last year's war with his neighbor Azerbaijan. The Prime Minister resisted calls to resign in November when he signed a peace deal facilitated by Russia, which resulted in the end of the 6-week conflict with Azerbaijan.
I demand the resignation of Nikol Pashinyan because he sold my country and I lost my homeland because of him. As for the opposition, I am not happy with them because apart from rallies, I do not see any other concrete actions.
We're taking one last break. More news in a minute. Thousands of people in Myanmar continue to protest in the streets of Yangon against the recent military coup. Much of the country has been uproar since troops deposed civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi on February 1st, with the large street demonstrations in both urban centers and isolated villages. According to the Assistant Association for Political Prisoners, nearly 550 people have been detained since the coup, including railway workers, civil servants, and bank staff, who have walked off their jobs as part of a civil disobedience campaign aimed at crippling the army's ability to govern. The country emerged from its sixth nightly internet curfew on Saturday. The measure was imposed as citizens began setting up watch groups in their neighborhoods to guard against evening arrests.
The military said they will rule in democratic way, but at the same time, they immediately cut the internet connection and blocked social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter. That means their words don't match their actions, so we will never believe them. Young people have their dreams. 2019 was a year of development. 2020 was with COVID-19, and we all were thinking about how we will do in our future in 2021. But everyone is gone now. Everything we were hoping for is going to be destroyed. That's why more people are joining the protest than in the past.
Also in Myanmar, thousands of people have attended the funeral of a young woman anti-coup protester who was gunned down during a rally against the country's military junta. Maya Watewati Kane was shot in the head 2 days ahead of her 20th birthday at a protest demanding the release of ousted civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi. She was kept on life support for 10 days but succumbed to her wounds on Friday, making her the first protester killed for participating in the massive civil disobedience campaign sweeping the country. Some in the protest movement had described her as a martyr, and right groups have demanded an independent investigation into her death.
Please, take care. The military and the police are firing with their guns whenever they want to, relying on their weapons recklessly. So I just want to tell the people to be careful.
We solemnly pledge to fight until the victory of the Burmese Spring against the military dictatorship.
Youths have rallied in front of Parliament in Thailand in protest against the country's royal defamation law. They are demanding the release of movement leaders who have been charged and detained under the said law.
I feel like the more the authorities try to prevent the people from talking or criticizing the monarchy, the more questions from the people there will be, because there are no explanations or clarifications for the people.
Police have used water cannons, stun grenades, and pepper spray to disperse protesters in Cyprus' capital, Nicosia. The demonstrators are against corruption by government officials, significantly relating to granting of passports to the country's wealthy investors. Last week, police were criticized for allegedly using disproportionate force to disperse the crowds.
I'm utterly disgusted by the way that they treated our young people last week. I'm utterly disgusted by the way that they arrested 11 young men. I'm utterly disgusted by the violence, by the fact that a girl lost 25% of her eyesight, Anastasia. We are supposed to be a European country. This is absolutely unacceptable. I'm very upset, very angry at the lack of transparency of this government. I'm really angry that they get away with anything and everything.
Russia has registered its third vaccine against the coronavirus called Covivac and promised to introduce the jab to its population by March. The vaccine was produced by the state-run Chumisov Center based in Moscow.
Today we note that a third vaccine, Covivac, has been registered. It was developed by the Chumakov Center, and already in mid-March, the first 120,000 doses will be distributed within the civilian circulation. Today, Russia is the only country that has already 3 vaccines against the COVID-19.
Camping tents have emerged as a lucrative alternative for Turkish hotel owners, as traditional hotel businesses have been hit hard by COVID-19. Though the rooms are not very big and can only accommodate 2 guests due to coronavirus regulations, they have been equipped with basic facilities. As the contagion continues to spread, more and more hotel owners are exploring new ways to find business opportunities during the winter season. Since the outbreak hit Turkey in March 2020, the country's tourism revenue has dropped by 2/3, and the number of restaurant and hotel closures peaked in the second quarter of the last year, according to the Ministry of Culture and Tourism.
Our inspiration comes from Thailand. When I saw the tent hotels in Thailand, I thought, why not build one in Turkey? Now people's needs for camping is surging amid the pandemic, and the tent hotels can provide them with a new option.
We are a lively family, so we would have celebrated with our friends if we didn't have to avoid gatherings during the epidemic. We don't want to miss this special day, so we chose to come here and celebrate in this way.
The Italian Coast Guard began a search for survivors Saturday after a vessel carrying migrants capsized off the Mediterranean island of Lampedusa overnight. Officials say that the craft had overturned as the Coast Guard was bringing migrants aboard its own boat. While 47 people were saved, survivors of the accident said 5 were missing from the original number aboard. It is not clear yet where the migrants were coming from. However, Italy is the primary route for migrants departing mostly from Tunisia and Libya to reach Europe. Rescue services were deployed in the Indonesian capital Jakarta on Saturday to help evacuate people stranded by severe flooding after heavy rainfall. Overflowing rivers crossed the main area of the capital, leaving 193 neighborhoods in South and East Jakarta submerged by floods as high as 1.8 meters. More than 1,300 people were also forced to flee. The Indonesian Meteorological Agency has warned that extreme weather, including heavy rains and strong winds, are expected to continue in the next few days and has asked residents in densely populated areas to remain vigilant.
I was so afraid of being swept away by the floodwater. I could only take some clothes with me. At least I can change into them.
The flood water receded last night. By about midnight, many residents have cleared debris from their homes, but suddenly another flash flood came. I choose to stay at home on the second floor with my wife and children.
Hundreds of anti-vaccine demonstrators gathered in Australia's main cities on Saturday ahead of the country's COVID-19 vaccine rollout on Monday. In Sydney, demonstrators marched in the streets with banners bearing anti-vaccination slogans, while in Brisbane, demonstrators gathered in a park to listen to speakers and singers. Police forces maintain a heavy presence in most cities, with some arrests made on a cricket pitch in Melbourne. More anti-vaccine demonstrations are planned in the coming days. And we come to the end of this news brief. You can find this and many other stories in our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Jose Daniel Lopez. Thank you for watching.